joining us now, editor, publisher, guru, overall Republican mastermind of the times, and former Never Trumper, but still my friend, Shaun Kenney. Shaun, good to have you, man.
Hey, good to be back. Good to be back. Mea culpa, mea maxima culpa. Can I come back to the faithful, please?
Oh, a reformed Never Trumper. See, we didn't talk there for a while, but now we can talk. We still have fun and laugh about it. Unlike some of my other Never Trumper friends that still drive me bananas, and we fight all the time. But Shaun, you had a great piece on the Republican Standard. You did an editorial, and on Freddie Burgos, I call him Crazy Freddie. I got to tell you, Shaun, I am so upset by this, and I cannot believe the lack of leadership of the Republican Party in Virginia. And, you know, I had supported Tim Hannigan for Republican Committee Chairman in Fairfax. I was supposed to do a fundraiser at his house on Friday. I canceled it. I thought Hannigan's response to this whole thing was anemic and ridiculous and just woeful. He's still defending the guy and talking about investigations. I mean, Shaun, how do you have a party where you have people on State Central that post bigoted remarks on social media? You're a member of the governing committee of the party, and basically you say, I'm only voting for the Christian. I'm not voting for the other guy because he's a Jew. Even though he didn't say that, that was the implication. How do you tolerate this?
Well, you don't, right? I mean, this is something that, you know, it's been a festering problem for many, many years. He's gotten exceptional cover from unexpected quarters, Freddie Burgos has. And quite frankly, it needs to stop. I think your inclinations are right, and I think your sentiment is correct. I mean, look, you can't have a party if you allow these cancers to sort of metastasize under our wing. I mean, this is an absolute clear-cut instance where State Central ultimately should act and do the right thing. And I think that there's the will to do that. You know, it's late in coming. This is not Burgos' first offense. But if at any point in time and at any other instance there was an opportunity to do the right thing, this would be the time. This is the opportunity.
Well, they're kind of doing it. I mean, we had John on our show yesterday, and John Whitbeck, the chairman of the Republican Party of Virginia, and he says he's, you know, working through the system, working through the rules. But I guess I kind of get where he's coming from. But here's what bothers me with this whole thing. This guy put this post up on Facebook 2 weeks ago. It only came to light because one of the other blogs published it. They took a screenshot of it. Nothing was really done about it. Nothing is ever done with this guy. And now it's like, well, you know, we can't have a press conference. We can't do that. You know, we have to give him 30 days. And I mean, it just seems the whole response to me seemed to be, and even though John told him to resign and for his ouster, you know, Shaun, I don't know if you can't get 2/3 of the Republican Central Committee members to vote this guy out, I don't think you have a party.
Yeah, and I think we've reached to the point where that's absolutely correct. And look, I mean, in the past, the way to handle Freddie Burgos has been, you know, just let everybody calm down, let the news cycle die out, let something else take its place. And then a month or two later, everybody's forgotten about it, and it's just not worth the hassle. That's the way it was when Freddie Burgos went after Najee Al-Ghendi, who's a college Republican, happens to be a Muslim as well. Said that the same token, they said that she didn't deserve to be in RPV or didn't deserve to have a seat at State Central. That was sort of swept under the rug, and it was sort of treated as a first-time offense. We're now at a fifth-time offense, and now it's targeting Mike Ginsburg, who's Hannigan's challenger for Fairfax GOP. And look, I mean, you know, press conferences are a good start, right? I mean, I would be, you know, personally, you know, working these phones night and day. You know, getting out there and making the statement 2 weeks ago when he first said that would be an excellent start as well. It really shouldn't have to take, you know, yourself and others to sort of stamp their feet and point at what Freddie Burgos is doing to the party. Because look, it has nothing really to do at the end of the day with Freddie Burgos or anything like that. Birds of a feather flock together. And if we don't have the moral courage as a party to take a stand against anti-Semitism of all things, then what are we here for? If we can't stand about that, don't count on us for keeping taxes low. Don't count on us for defending life. Don't count on us for defending family. This is abhorrent. It has no place in our party. It never had any place in our party. It still doesn't have a place in our party. If we don't have the moral courage to stand up and refuse to be Neville Chamberlains about this, Then what are we here for? What are we trying to do? What principles ultimately are we really standing for when we're willing to link arms with the likes of anti-Semites? I can't be that, and I won't do that. And I've been pretty clear and very open about that. And I know you have as well. But others need to be equally clear and equally emphatic and actually proactive about it rather than passive. And I think that's really the conversation that we're having today.
The response by Hannigan, and of course, for those that don't know this, it's kind of inside baseball, but Freddie Burgos was running his campaign. He was a key operative in the Hannigan for chairman campaign. I endorsed Hannigan. I think he would have been a better choice. I'm not now. I withdrew that endorsement, but I did. I just thought he would have done a better job than Ginsburg. But I based that on merit and the fact that he has more energy, and Ginsburg was already the committee chairman of one of the other districts. He didn't do anything that set the world on fire, so I thought Hannigan was the guy. But I got to tell you, Shaun, I thought his response was pathetic. Woeful.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, this guy's
and frankly, John, I totally agree with you. It's just, you can't, there's sort of this call for an investigation and sort of, like there's just pitter-pattering around it. I mean, look, if you don't have the moral authority to point at something like that and say, you know what, that's unacceptable, then again, I mean, that's just not who we are. I mean, at some point in time, there's a moral core to what it means to be a conservative, and it doesn't embrace anti-Semitism. Our grandfathers fought against that kind of thing, for crying out loud. Mm-hmm. And nowadays, I mean, we're so afraid of the Democrats that we're not willing to stand up for what we believe in as a party, and even at our basic moral core. And we're willing to link arms with our worst elements in order to stave off defeat. That is not the kind of Republican Party we need. It's not the kind of Republican leadership we deserve. And quite frankly, until we get out of this circle where we start trying to decide, like push one half of the party against the other, which is what, we've kind of done for the last 10 years, we're never going to be able to turn around and give a positive agenda for why Republicans should lead in Virginia. I mean, we've lost 10 elections since over the course of time. It's been tough to be a Republican in Virginia. Internecine fights are very easy. But at the end of the day, if we're not willing to point at the worst elements who are sort of piggybacking and hijacking our party and say, that's not what we believe in, and point back at the rest of Virginia and say, look, we don't believe in this, but we believe in other things. We believe in the right to life. We believe in keeping taxes low. We believe in getting rid of the regulatory state. And we believe in all these things that help make small businesses and small families grow and prosper in the Commonwealth. And this is why can't we get back to that? It has nothing to do with whether or not the faith of an individual serving as a unit chair is Jewish, Muslim, Christian, or what have you. It has everything to do with whether or not you believe in individual freedom and personal liberty. And if you don't believe in those things, that's what gets you outside of the party. But if you decide to hijack it with these extraneous nonsense, and if we don't have the leadership to reject that in toto as with one voice, then we're going to continue to fail. And that's just not – I mean, you hear a lot of frustration on this end of the phone, and it's heartfelt, but I know we're better than this. And I think that State Central knows that we're better than this. And I think that I'm hopeful. I'm very hopeful, John. We're going to find State Central act on this rather than push it under the table. I have to believe that that's coming around the corner.
Well, if you're part of the governance of the Republican Party of Virginia, I think you have to act now. 2 days have already gone by, and I know John Whitbeck went on TV and went on Channel 4 last night and was calling for this guy to resign. And I know there's a rule that says you have to wait 30 days. But look, 2 days have gone by. I haven't seen any other State Central Committee member come forward and demand this guy be ousted. I haven't seen anybody call for an emergency meeting, whether it's for the rules or not. I think you could just call a meeting and make a statement and do a press conference. See, that's what's bothering me.
And I agree. I agree. Absolutely agree. I mean, this is not something that was going to be forgotten. We need somebody to stand up and take leadership on this. I mean, it should not be difficult to get 1/3 of State Central to go ahead and point at that comment and say that's inexcusable, and we're going to bring you up in front of the full State Central to talk about it. We're going to get the 2/3 votes. That's all you need. I mean, 1/3 of an 87-member body is not difficult to get in one day. It's not difficult. You call, you make the phone calls, you get people to sign a document, you fax it back. You can get this done. And maybe that's actually being done right now. We don't have the inside track on that. And I hope that it is. But I think your sentiments are right. I mean, we want action on this. I think most conservatives do. We're outraged over it. And it just sends such a bad message when you have the Democrats and the media and everybody else painting us as racist for us to literally find one in our midst, in our leadership, and not do anything about it. sends the wrong message. But again, I'm very hopeful that State Central is going to act. I am not. I'm not pessimistic about that, but as the days go on, you can understand that why people would feel that way.
The post was put up.
But I'm hopeful that some action is going to be taken, and frankly, I expect it.
I expect it too, but timing is everything here, right?
I agree.
I mean, we're both married a long time, right?
2 weeks is too long.
We understand what timing means, okay, Shaun? Both of us. Timing is everything. This post was put up on February 2nd. It is now February 13th. 11 days have gone by, okay?
Yep.
And it got swept under the carpet originally, right? Nobody said anything. Somebody called him up and said, hey, take it down. And he took it down, right? Finally, 10 days go by. Nothing happens. Now this blew up yesterday. Another 24 hours have gone by. Nothing has happened. No calls. And now we have, John Whitbeck, bless his heart, saying, well, there's a 30-day rule. See, I don't care if there's a 30-day rule. I'm with you. I think you should get 1/3 signatures and call for a meeting Saturday. Right? I don't care if there's a 30-day rule. Maybe you can't oust them for 30 days, but I think nobody can stop you from having a meeting. You just call the meeting. You have the emergency meeting. You invite the press, and you have a 1-hour debate, and you vote him in or out. Even if you got to come back in 30 days, you got to make a statement sometimes in
I
life.
agree. There's nothing preventing State Central from censuring this man right now.
Right now.
You can call an emergency meeting. You can get that together. Again, you can have that hour-long debate. You can censure the man immediately, and 30 days later come back and formally remove him. There's nothing preventing State Central from doing that. You're absolutely right, and it's something that ought to be done. See,
that would be leadership to me. Sitting back and telling me about 30-day rules and what paperwork has to get in. Get no time for this. Get no time for this paperwork when you've got somebody posting this stuff on social media who's part of your governing body, when you've lost 10 elections in a row and everybody is out there calling Trump supporters racist. I get called a racist on CNN twice a week, right? Why? Because I support Trump. It doesn't matter what the positions are. I'm getting sick of it. And so I'm not going to tolerate people like this. And the milquetoast response I'm getting back from some of these people, like, well, he deserves his day in court. You know what that reminds me of? What, your day in court? Well, we don't have the whole side of the story. He put a post on Facebook. It's his writing. What else do you need? It's like you get to say there is no other side of the story. Okay? You're sitting around on a Sunday posting bigotry and anti-Semitic things on your Facebook page, and you're a member of State Central Committee. Look, if you want to do that, resign. I don't care what you do. But you have a responsibility to the party if you run for this office. And look, so everybody knows out there that this is inside bait. Like, what is a State Central member? The Republican Party of Virginia, like the Democratic Party of Virginia, like any party in the states, in the U.S., you have committee members that govern the party. And they're elected at conventions in their congressional districts. And it's a big deal. You just don't walk in and sign something. You got to recruit delegates. You got to make a speech. You got to have a platform. You get elected to State Central. Most of these are very competitive. So look, if you get elected to the position, you have a responsibility to the party you govern. And that one responsibility is not putting bigoted anti-Semitic things up on a Facebook page on a Sunday night. If you want to do that, get the hell out.
Right. Your job is to bring people to the party and explain why our values matter in the public square. It is not to drive people out by DQing them on the basis of their faith.
Right.
That's ridiculous. Who does that?
It's ridiculous.
But, again, it comes back to, you are whom you associate. Personnel is policy at the end of the day. And this is something that, as a former never-Trumper, again, mea culpa, but this is something I pointed out a long time ago. Before Trump announced his candidacy, I said, look, the nativists are coming. And everybody kind of pushed back and said, well, but we're all not nativists, Shaun. Don't lump us in with those guys. But now we're seeing in real time why some of the concerns of the never-Trumpers were somewhat valid. And I think that for folks who have always been with Trump, they're looking at it now and saying, my God, it's like, who are these people hijacking what we believe?
Right. See, that's where I am.
You've got this great confluence between conservatives and populists. They're looking at this and saying, look, this really is a problem, and we're strong enough to tackle it.
Right.
I think that's the real message that we need to get across. We are strong enough as a party to tackle this sort of nonsense. It needs to happen today.
Shaun, Kenney, you hit the nail on the head, because I'm a Trump supporter from the beginning. I'm a populist. It would be tough to put me in the conservative camp. There's a lot of things we don't agree on. But I feel like guys like Freddie Burgos has hijacked our movement, right? I believe in the Trump movement. I don't believe in Freddie Burgos's bigoted things on a Facebook page as a state central committee member. And what also infuriated me is he's going around Fairfax and he printed up red hats that he's handing out called Make Fairfax Great Again. And he's handing them out. And that's part of the Hannigan campaign. And now Hannigan's afraid to get rid of him because he might not win his race. Who the hell cares, man? I mean, I don't want to win.
Why would you want to win?
Why would you want to win?
People like that at your back.
Exactly.
I wouldn't want to win with their support.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The Hannigan,
lose with honor.
The Hannigan response, I got to tell you, on the bull elephant, I had to read that 3 times. I could not believe it. I kept reading it and saying, "This got to be a mistake here. I must be somebody else doing this." No, it was Hannigan. And then I talked to him on the phone last night, and he's still defending the guy.
Yeah, and you know what? And that tells you something about where the bull elephant's gone. I mean, when Steve Albertson was running it actually was a great counterpoint to Bearing Drift. Now that Steve's kind of taken the back seat, I mean, that stuff just. I mean, fine, they can go ahead and have its airing in the public square. That's just not a viewpoint that I care to subsidize with my time, and that's a real shame.
I think you got to make a stand here.
Yeah,
and
agreed.
I don't care whether you're in Greene County or Fairfax County or Chesapeake or Northern Virginia like I am half the time or Washington, D.C. I don't care where you are. You've got to make a stand on this. And I think so far, after 48 hours, the response has been anemic from Republicans who are in charge. I think some state central member has to come forward, demand a meeting this Saturday or this Sunday, censor this guy, go to the media, invite them in, go on the record. Everybody should go on the record. I want every state central member to go on the record. Go on the record. Don't give me a secret ballot. Don't give me a paper folded up in a hat. Raise your hand. Are you in favor of keeping this guy in or not? And if you can't get 2/3 of your state central to vote this guy out of the party and censor him right now, you don't have a party. You got nothing.
Yeah, I totally agree. And this is not a hard call. There's no need for an investigation. Freddie said exactly what he wanted to say. Freddie Burgos knew exactly who his target was, and Freddie Burgos knew what the consequences would be if he expressed that opinion. And he chose to do so anyway, and he let the chips fall where they may. And now the response is a little too hot for some folks to handle. Burgos isn't resigning, and he's not backing away from what he said. So if members of State Central, and I think, again, there are a lot of people with tremendous integrity that serve in State Central. By no means, way, shape, or form am I denigrating any of them. Maybe some of them are probably just now making themselves aware that this is a problem. But they know that we've heard this before about Freddie Burgos. It's come to State Central's attention. This is not a hard one to sort out. We don't need an investigation. There doesn't need to be a whole lot of hand-wringing over it. We need action. And we need people to stick their names to the idea and not treat this as an academic exercise, but to drive anti-Semitism out from the party once and for all. And let's settle this narrative now that the Republican Party has been on the right side of every social justice issue from slavery to abortion, right? We fought against slavery. That's why the Republican Party exists, right? We fought Jim Crow. We were the ones who put forward the first civil rights legislation. We fought against abortion. We fought against welfare and turned it into workfare. We've been on the right side of every single civil rights issue from the inception of our party. To find anti-Semites in our midst today and not have the moral courage to drive them out because some academic exercise or some concern about maybe we need these people's votes and it'll turn off a certain segment of the party. Forget all that nonsense.
Right.
I'd rather lose on principle than win with having people like Freddie Burgos at my back. I mean, that's a very simple explanation. And you know what? When we actually start standing on principle for a change and what we believe on, maybe, just maybe, we'll become a party that starts growing again rather than worrying about how we're going to keep splitting up in these different camps. Maybe if we actually started standing on the things we believe in rather than trying to sit there and make alliances with people we disagree with, maybe people will start coming back to the Republican Party and maybe we'll turn things around in Virginia. But until we get to that point, until we've finally been fed up with the status quo, we're never going to be able to change what we have today. And it's so critically important because I know and we both believe in the Republican Party. We believe in its principles. We believe in what we stand for. We believe in the working man and the working class and everything that they have to go through in a tough economy. things are turning around and they're getting better. But, you've got individuals who are going to piggyback on that do not belong in our leadership. That's the bottom line. And either we take a stand now and we do the right thing, or we're going to regret it for the next 20 years because the Democrats are out there driving this narrative that we're embracing people like Freddie Burgos, and I don't want to be a part of that. I really don't want to be a part of it, and I know deep down in my core that no one of any respectability in the Republican Party wants that either.
Shaun Kenney, an avowed never-Trumper, and John Fredericks,
a reformed never-Trumper,
a true believer in the Trump message, coming together in a great, glorious union of the truth. Thank you, Shaun. We can always find that common ground. 10 seconds. Amy in Fairfax says, Burgos is a cancer on the Virginia GOP. Cut him out.